Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen to stay away from the ongoing pilot strike. Addressing the media this morning, Ernest Nadombe, the Assistant Secretary General, said the Kenya Airways management must move with speed to solve the issue with its pilots instead of dragging the Transport Ministry into the matter. Nadombe further says the Ministry of Labour is given the mandate to solve workers' welfare and not the Ministry of Transport. Take a look.
So this issue of saying you must come back to work immediately so that we solve the problem, you must do A, B, C, D, that is not going to work, because even workers and our affiliates have their right to call a strike. Is provided for in the laws of this country. So blame games is not going to help. What's going to help us now is how do we sit down to find a solution, and for that matter, a working solution to this problem, because this is not the first time we are solving the problem at KQ.
But it is unfortunate that the top leadership of Ministry of Labour are missing in action. The new CS of Labour, whom we highly respect, Florence Border, is missing in action. The outgoing PS, Engineer 2, is missing in action. Instead, what is happening? Ministry of Labour has relegated this process to junior officers. And this is not a national matter now. It's a global matter affecting travelers, affecting our clients all over the world. So we will want the government, and particularly the CS Labour, to come in now and take charge so that we resolve this issue. We are Federation of Kenya Employers. Federation of Kenya Employers now should also advise Kenya Airways, so that we meet on a round table. This blame game will not help us at all. Yesterday we heard that the CS Transport accusing the pilots for not accepting to go back to the negotiating table. But when we talk to our pilots also, they are equally saying KQ and the government have gone mum on this issue. So this blame game is not going to help this country, and that is why as KOTU, we are now saying we want to take a lead role in making sure that this matter is resolved amicably.
Meanwhile, detectives from the Homicide Department of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation have arraigned the third suspect of the murder of Rwanda-based businessman George Mwangi. Kiambu Law Court Principal Magistrate M.A. Opondo has granted the police officers 7 days to hold John Mwekireria Mwangi to complete investigations, where he is expected to be arraigned before the court on 17th of November 2022. George's body was found wrapped in a polythene bag and dumped at Kieni Forest in Gatundu North. John was arrested last Thursday at his home in Gatundu. Police launched a manhunt after John disappeared around the same time Mwangi was found dead. Detectives probing the murder said before the death of the engineer and husband of Kiambu politician Gladys Chania, John's movements raised suspicions.
Ili tuweze kukamilisha uchunguzi, na kati ya ile vitu ningetaka kufanya yoona ni DNA sampling of the respondent. Tunatarajia kupata mashahidi wengine kutokana na taarifa yake ambaye ameandikisha na sisi.
It is such a sad turn of events. May justice be served promptly as investigations continue into that murder. But moving on, a member of County Assembly from Ganze Sub-County, Kilifi County, has come to the aid of young school-going children after he introduced a feeding program that has helped retain and attract learners to school. The initiative, that was started by MCA Benson Karisa Ngirani last year, involves preparing porridge for early childhood development and education ECDE pupils in 41 centers who would otherwise miss school due to harsh economic situations at home. According to the teacher in charge of all the ECDE teachers in the ward, Naomi Mbodze Muye, there were at least 2,287 pupils in 50 ECDE centers, and that the number is increasing after the introduction of the porridge program. Now, speaking to the media, MCA Karisa stated that he was moved to start the program after witnessing the challenges affecting the children in the area, thus felt the need to effect change.
Vitoto vinalala, utafikiri ni wagonjwa, lakini the moment ungepatia kitu kidogo anaamka na kumbe ni njaa tu, si ugonjwa. Lakini tangu huu mradi uanzishwe na sisi tubahatike, ime retain watoto hapa Petanguo ECD in particular.
The ward kwa upande wa ECD tuko na watoto 2287 na mradi huu umeweza kugusia watoto 1650. Kwa hivyo tunaona ni mradi ambao umesaidia sana, na tunaweza kumshukuru sana MCA wetu Karisa Ngirani kwa kuleta huu mradi. Umekuwa wa msaada sana kwa watoto wetu, hata sisi walimu pia umetusaidia katika njia nyingi, kwa sababu umesaidia ku increase the enrollment ya watoto mashuleni. Watoto wanakuja sahihi. Hata jana tuliweza kuadmit watoto 3.
Watoto pia wanatulia darasani, ijapokuwa ni challenge, manake una deal na PP1 na PP2. Na kuanzia pia grade 1, grade 2 kuendelea pia hao ni watoto. Lakini sasa ule uwezo ambao kwa sasa niko nao nilibidi nisimamie hapo kwa chekechea.
And such a plausible deed coming from the member of county assembly in Ganze sub-county in Kilifi County. But moving on from that, and former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati has distanced himself from corruption accusations leveled against him by the current governor Kenneth Lusaka. Lusaka had accused his predecessor's administration of swindling the county millions through the county scholarship scheme. According to a report by a task force established by Lusaka, over 19 million shillings was lost through paid to schools for ghost students. Take a look.
None of our students was sent home for none or delayed payment of school fees for the last 4 years that I was in the office. By April 2022, the program had enrolled its 5th cohort with some 7,000 needy students picked for Form 1 admission. This brought the total number of students on the scholarship fund over the 5 years to 10,000 students. For purposes of equity, the students were always identified and picked at village unit level in each ward in a process that was open, transparent, and which often allowed participation of the local community to corroborate details submitted by applicants. Names of all these students, contact persons, their parents, their guardians, and schools admitted to are found at each of the 45 ward offices in the county and at the head office in the Department of Education and Vocational Training. Issues raised by the task force. While the report raises several issues, including questions of procedure, however, I will limit myself to the substantive statements that money may have been lost in the process. One, that the ward committees were unlawfully constituted. It is not true. The members of the executive chaired ward committees, none whatsoever. They participated in the process during home visitations only as ex-official members of the committee. Due to the number of applicants involved and the fact that this was too important a task, we needed everybody's hands on the deck. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta used all cabinet secretaries to supervise NEC exams. President William Ruto is relying on several cabinet secretaries and senior state officers in the country's response to drought and hunger. Two, that the process of identifying
the Frontier Counties Development Council FCDC governors have been slammed for rejecting the move to add more counties to the list of arid and semi-arid lands. Now, according to Mwingi Central Legislator Gideon Muliongi, counties like Kitui have been hit hard by the ongoing drought, and such a move by the FCDC governors is uncalled for, as it exposes the selfishness of the counties already enjoying benefits of being listed in the ASAL regions. Mulionge has called on Kenyans to be united during this difficult period and help each other.
The unwarranted utterances by Frontier Counties Development Council. Kitui County is equally hard hit. It is unfair, inhumane, and uncalled for the Northern Frontier governors to be so selfish and concentric and to develop a huge appetite for relief food. In times like this, each one of us should be our brother's keeper and should reach out to each other for help.
Elsewhere, the case challenging the election of Narok County Governor Patrick Ntutu will kick off on Monday next week after the legal teams representing both parties agreed to finalize their submissions within 4 days. The case was filed by former Narok North Member of Parliament Moitalel Olekenta, who lost to the incumbent. Lady Justice Teresia Matheka has cautioned the legal teams that there will be no further extension of date of hearing.
File and provided the deputy registrar will be easier and faster to print from the servers as opposed from the
For the first respondent to provide to the deputy registrar and the petitioners, and the third and fourth respondents certified copies of printouts of all the voter logs from SD cards within 4 days. And that's the minimum. Of all the printouts of all voter logs from SD cards within 4 days. That's the minimum time they can secure those documents, 4 days. 2, Your Ladyship, that an order do issue from this court directing the first respondent to access and open presidential ballot boxes in respect of Narok County with a view to accessing the manual election registers, and in the event, Your Ladyship, that the manual register is not found in the presidential ballot box, then the first respondent be at liberty to access and open the other 5 ballot boxes in respect of the other elections in the presence of the parties or their representatives or advocates within 4 days.
There will be no extension. I think it should be agreeable that within the time that we are left, we can share out that time and still get to the bottom of this. It's not agreeable, so that we don't move too far away from it.
Mama Lucy Hospital health workers have called upon the Senate Health Committee, led by Senator Jackson Mandago, to stop pointing fingers at the facility and instead divert their attention to the hundreds of Kenyans dying of hunger in the dry parts of Kenya. The response comes days after the Mandago-led committee threatened to shut down the facility due to high cases of negligence, which has led to the death of some patients seeking medication at the hospital.
We had only 4 nurses on duty against a number of 136 patients. This is a level 5. According to the staffing norms under nursing, a level 5 in labor ward is 1 nurse to 1 mother. In this case, you have 136 people against 4 nurses. What magic do you expect? I want to repeat again that let us not just talk because we want to talk. We are undergoing a lot. Despite all these challenges, there are good things that this hospital has offered. So we want to urge the Senate to just relook into what they are doing, narrow down to the challenges that are ailing the health sector in Nairobi, and give recommendations. Those recommendations must be put into action.
We need to make it very clear that we are sorry for those families who lost their loved ones here. Some of the problems we are having is not because of the incompetence of this hospital, but are systemic challenges. One, starting with health financing, and that's the key role of the Senate. The Senate should ensure that hospitals, or health in particular, are well funded. We cannot talk of quality healthcare without proper healthcare financing. Number 2, we cannot talk of quality healthcare without proper human resources for health. And that's where we are as the unions. We are not going to continue shifting blames and throwing blame games here and there because of systemic issues which can be addressed by the Senate and by our employer.
So we want to call upon and retaliate that this health facility, the Mama Lucy, and leave alone the Mama Lucy alone, and all other health facilities, they are manned by people who are qualified. We have taken a hypocritical oath to save lives. Hatuwezi kuja hapa, our number one role when you are coming here is to save a life. We don't come here, it's very unfortunate that a life ikipotea kwa mikono yako. But the most important thing is that when you are coming here, when you are reporting on duty, we are coming here to save nini? Kuokoa maisha.
It is a situation that is almost turning into a standoff between the Senate Health Committee as well as staffers of the Mama Lucy Hospital. Remember, all this is coming in the wake of the death of baby Travis, the mother getting summoned to the Senate Health Committee to explain her plight after she lost a child. Remember, baby Travis is the one who had a fork djembe inserted into his head, and that is how he got to lose his life after having medical practitioners not tending to him on time. There was also another gentleman who lost his wife, and both of these victims were summoned to the Senate Health Committee, and they explained their plight, and the Senate was mulling over ways to curb the situation, and one of them was to have the closure of the Mama Lucy Hospital. And that is why we've seen some of the health practitioners at the facility coming out to condemn some of the terms that were put across at the Senate Health Committee. It is a situation that we'll be waiting to see how it is going to unravel in the coming days. But moving on, a section of Mau Mau fighters from Nyeri County have called on President William Ruto to intervene and solve the land dispute between them and a private developer. Led by 94-year-old Kimunya Kamana, the elders claim that the late President Jomo Kenyatta awarded them a piece of land in Soilo as compensation for their sacrifice to the country. However, the said piece of land is currently occupied by a private developer, and they are worried that they might not enjoy the fruits of their labor since they are not very old.
Some people abused their office and frustrated their effort.
Na hii tulikwenda tukaambiwa kwa Commission of Land tulipe late pesa ya mchanga, tukalipa, mimi nikalipa 118. Baba yetu ni eka 110.
Those were a lot of money for our elders to join hands and to raise that amount for them to be sanctioned and declared as the owners of that land.
Well, like that story states, some of the residents claiming the land that they were offered by President Uhuru Kenyatta in Soilo. But shifting focus from that, police officers in Lari Sub-County in Kiambu have launched a security operation to sweep out those involved in crime cases. More than 15 suspects are on the run after being involved in different crime cases in the area. Kimende village has been the hotspot of insecurity cases where suspects are believed to be hiding. Immediately they attack and steal from residents, threatening to attack them if they are reported to the security officers. A few days ago, a body of an old man was identified along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway near the area, full of blood and face injuries, a move that has escalated many reactions among residents.
Kuna baadhi ya wale ambao tunawashuku ya kwamba ndio wanaohusika na vitendo hivi vya uhalifu. Majina yao tuko nayo na tunawafuatilia, na pia tumeweza kuwapea kwa maafisa wa askari ili waweze kufuatiliwa, na tumeweka mikakati yote ambayo inastahili kuona kwamba wamechukuliwa hatua.
Tunaweza taka uchunguzi ufanywe na at least tuwekewe security hapa kwetu. Juu security inaonekana ni mbaya, especially Kimende.
Serikali wapiga patrol masaa ya usiku, sababu kuna watu wengine ambao wanatoka makazi masaa ya usiku, na pengine wanaweza shuka hii magari wakitoka kazi wakutane na hao wahalifu.
Sababu kunakuta mtu anaenda kama side services, nakuta umefunga nyuma yako vizuri, nakuta imefunguliwa, TV imeibiwa na vitu services za nyumba zimeenda. Kwa hivyo tunashangaa kwa nini serikali iko wapi? Ikuja na itusaidie. Visa kama hii ichunguzwe ili watu wale wanafanya kitendo kama hiyo wachukuliwe hatua kali. na ili watambuliwe ndio wajulikane ni akina nani.
Now, there is still no assurance about cybersecurity in the country. And according to experts, the country is still experiencing challenges on the talent, policy and legal framework to support cybersecurity. Speaking during the ongoing conference of Kenya Association of Records Managers and Archivists KAMA in Mombasa, ICT Authority Director Michael Odhiambo said that cybersecurity is not yet 100% achieved. He has assured Kenyans that the concerned parties have come together so as to ensure that record management thrives. On the other hand, the chairperson of KAMA has illustrated some of the challenges the institutions are facing in making sure that our data is safe.
100%. But then as a government, working together with all the stakeholders that need to be part of this activity, both the ICT Authority, the Ministry of ICT and even the Communications Authority have come together to build a robust cybersecurity environment that can allow for records management to thrive. A lot has been done by government through these agencies that I've mentioned to ensure that cybersecurity is of a major focus, not just for the elections like you talked about, but also for other spheres of ICT in government. And not just for government, but any other services that Mwananchi is supposed to take.
The whole policy and legal framework around management of records across the country, that's an issue, a big challenge.